it is real. These constraints are real. Stakeholders are difficult at certain points of time. It is not our game to convince these stakeholders to play our game. So can you reduce the risk of doing business within what they can control? Can you talk about stuff which is in the control of your stakeholders? If it is not in the sphere of control of your direct stakeholders, don't even waste 1 minute on it. You really want to work with real data. You want to really work with how people are behaving. You want to go with them. You want to talk with them. You want to see. You want to do usability testing. You're not in the right place. The company clearly saw that I'm playing two different games for two different companies, and both places business is getting impacted. What is more important is playing the game rather than doing UX in what you think UX is.
So I've been working for this US-based financial institution as
Okay.
UX designer since say 2 years.
Uh-huh.
And the thing is, I work in the B2B product. I work in
Okay.
the internal products, and I don't get a chance to. I do both user research and testing, but I
Uh-huh.
get enough space to ideate, come up with concepts, share it with stakeholders, get their feedback, and also leverage. Stand by the user and say that hey, this is what the users might need,
Makes sense.
and proceed. Now, I share my designs to stakeholders. They just ghost me, right? There's just ghosting happens. I don't get feedback whether the users have liked it, the users have not liked it. Yeah, I just get a mail saying that the product has been launched. Now, the what I'm facing over here is I am not able to evaluate my designs.
Uh-huh.
I'm not able to understand whether what I've designed is really working or not. Are the users happy with it? Because there are no avenues for me to reach other users because for them taking the connecting the users is actually expensive for them, right?
Correct. Makes sense.
I design
Not
products.
them. Connecting to users is always expensive. Anyway, go ahead.
So for me to connect to the users, the stakeholders have to remove them. I mean, they have to get disconnect from their task and then interact with me, which is going to affect the business. And the stakeholders don't want to do that. Now, how do I navigate out of this? Because I'm not getting feedback on my work. The stakeholders are like, okay, fine. If this works, okay, you just proceed
That's
with
right.
it and then move ahead.
First, your situation. Are you consulting?
Yeah. So thing is, I work as a contractor over there.
Huh. That's why I see this happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, first I had to empathize you. So you're consulting to this company. Who are the stakeholders with you? Like who deal with you?
So I usually work with the analysts, the product managers. In the previous team, I used to interact with the tech team also, but now it's just being the analysts and the product managers. That's it.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
So fine. Anyway, firstly, whatever you stated is as real as it can get. What you're doing is typically what most designers out there are in. Even I myself also is in these kind of situations in a lot of times. So firstly, it is a very common problem to have is what I'm trying to tell first. First thing. Okay. So on top of it, business not having time for research, not allowing you to do research is a very common problem. Okay, because it is costly. There is no time. It's a very common problem. Next, on top of it, you are a contractor, right? So those people you're interacting with are permanent employees, right?
Yeah. People I'm interacting with permanent employees. The best way I can get feedback is share my designs with the team, the internal UX team over there. I get to evaluate it, but again, they are not the users, right?
I understand. Correct. They are
As
peers.
a
So firstly, the reason I'm telling this is as a contractor, this problem is even higher. I mean to say, firstly, you heard the answer about trust building and all that, right? In my previous whatever I was talking about. As a contractor, this is even more difficult because you are technically outside of the organization. Because as a contractor, you are hired mostly to execute stuff rather than participate in the vision. This is the mental model which literally works in companies, right? Let's get a contractor over here to do this particular type. We're doing the main firefighting. Let's hire a contractor to go and make us help us with these things stuff, right? And therefore, most of the tenets you'll be working around with is mostly delivery, right? Now you are in this situation, so therefore I'm telling you. Firstly, there is nothing wrong to be in this kind of a situation, okay? When you're coming to your actual question, how do I fight this? How do I navigate out of these situations? How do we make them realize that they can do research and all that stuff, right? You're not getting real user feedback, right? Now, my question to you is, how did you make sure that they realize that if at all you get better feedback, or if at all you have better insights, you can deliver stuff in a better manner, pause it there, within the constraints that they are posing, which means without increasing the risk of doing business. Because the more time they take and the more time you take, you're increasing the risk of business. So my question to you is, what avenues did you provide for them to understand that you can deliver within the time and do things in a much better manner?
Okay, I try to set the
I'm not
context.
even I'm not even talking about they not allowing you. I'm talking about, did you, what avenues did you create for them to realize this? Wait, I can frame a question better slowly.
Okay, I'll set to the context. I tell
Huh.
you the users I work with. So the client I work them are, it's a credit card company, and the users I work them are the customer care folks.
Correct.
Example, say that you have lost a card, you want to
Hmm.
call the customer care and say, hey, I've lost my card. So the customer care folks need to have a interface or some sort of
That's right.
portal for them to make the changes and stuff.
Hmm.
So I work on that portal. Now there, what the areas that so the spaces that I have to do some sort of research is a training environment, right? A simulator. So there I can just go to the flow and stuff. And again, trying to empathize and understand how the user might be in that particular case, because it's just not about the customer over here, the person, the user is also the customer who's on the call. We need to think about how they think
Absolutely,
also.
absolutely.
And I try to, so when I'm actually submitting my design or presenting my design, I tell them that this is what the customer might face,
That's right.
right? This is what the user might face, and that is a reason why I'm designed in this way.
Correct.
Now detective may come with certain constraints saying that, hey, you know what, we can't build the screens. There are like too many screens, try to reduce the number of screens, or there are like too many clicks, try to reduce the number of clicks and stuff. And I try to say why is it necessary?
Got it.
Because
Hmm.
and also try to understand how will it cost the business. Example, one of the example I can give you is, say that here you need the customer care folks to verify the details.
Correct.
If you
Hmm.
don't verify, because here the customer's money is at stake, right?
That's right.
You don't want this to affect the business. I give you one project I worked upon it. You have gift cards, right? You have gift cards. So they had actually designed they had a Java version of a portal where the customer care executive
Hmm.
can redeem gift cards in behalf of the user.
Got it.
Okay. My job was to completely redesign the flow.
Hmm.
Now here I had now so you have got different values, like say you have a gift card, say Amazon gift card, you got different values, right?
Yes.
100 rupees or
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
2000.
yeah, yeah. Hmm.
Now say that earlier they used to use radio buttons and they can just redeem one type of gift card at one point of time. But say that you're buying 10 gift cards of 500 rupees and 1000 rupees, checkboxes are better. Now I had to tell them why is it necessary in that way, and then say how is it affect, it's
Got
going
it.
to affect the user, and then
Huh.
do it. Now, yeah, I did it. I submitted to the tech team and stuff, but I don't know whether the users really liked it.
Correct. Awesome. Yes. That's the
Yeah.
main problem. I understand. Right. Firstly, I was working in a very similar environment when I was working for this for Tabzo. There was another company called One Direct. So I was a design head for these two companies, One Direct and Tabzo. One Direct also had, you know, it's a B2B product, very similar stuff. So the product is used by support agents to talk with the client's customers. Very similar situation as you are in, right? So when I'm designing for, in fact, I'll tell you this whole stakeholder line, right? Let's start with the actual customer of the client who is having the problem, right? Who's raising a complaint. That is one person, right? It was a social complaints platform. So if you post something on Twitter, Facebook, and all, it's a platform which collects all that and addresses, stuff back to them in the same platforms. The next stakeholder is the person who is using this platform, the customer care representative who is handling this query using the particular product, right? Now, then comes the next stakeholder who is the client themselves, but the business team of the client who makes this purchase or who subscribes to our particular product. Okay. And then there is another stakeholder who is the sales and the partnerships team in our company, who is talking to this particular person who is making a purchase decision, right? And then going backwards, there is another stakeholder which is your product head who talks with this person, right? Who's talking to the other person in the company, right? And you are one step more. On top of it, you are another contractor. Right? So there is literally like a big web of stakeholders, literally, coming in between the final two or the user sets whom you're designing, the person who is calling and the other person who is using this particular product to address their complaints and stuff like that. Right? So, okay, anyway, the reason I told you this is it is not a normal fight. When these many stakeholders do exist, it is not a normal fight, because in these kind of situations, what happens is generally the industry itself in these kind of products doesn't realize the value of understanding the situations of the people who are addressing these complaints or people who are calling and all that stuff. This industry itself is like that. It is a very highly business driven industry. That means these people who take those purchase decisions is are the people who hold this entire game, right? And you are playing in that particular industry, right? So anyway, I mean, first of all, I'm telling this to you just to say that it is very normal that this thing happens, because it is very difficult to gather that particular data, even though. So what I used to do, I'll tell you what I used to myself go through this ladder, and I went to the particular company who's using this product and spoke with these agents, and whatever I got from them, the person who's taking the decision to subscribe was not willing to act on, because they want to solve different problems. They do not care about how efficiently these people are using a product, because their way of making stuff efficient is totally different. They believe in a very different kind of a ball game. They believe in giving high targets, putting a lot of pressure, making everything incentivized is the way they play the game. Playing the game by making a better product and making it efficient, and therefore I want to improve my business efficiency, is not their game, which is what I understood about those stakeholders. And and I am not a baba to keep influencing that particular stakeholder. I cannot. I don't hold control there, because on top because once I understood that, I had to go back and I still have to face these three stakeholders who are talking, who are literally in between me and that particular stakeholder, right? Probably the direct stakeholder is talking, the guy who's selling might want to communicate this message, but I can't influence that particular person who is making the purchase decision. So that is the limitation which I have accepted, right?
But
If I did not accept that, I will only be complaining. What I'm trying to tell you is it is real that business, these constraints are real, stakeholders are difficult at certain points of time. It is not our game to convince these stakeholders to play our game, right? All you can do is impact the conversations between you and your direct stakeholders, empathizing the fact that they are doing a lot of other stuff. They might not want to listen to you because they don't hold control there. So can you reduce the risk of doing business within what they can control, that too as a contractor? Can you talk about stuff which is in the control of your stakeholders,
yeah, I can do that. I
right?
can do that.
Search or getting data from how users are behaving, if it is in the sphere of control of your direct stakeholders, then you can work towards it. If it is not in the sphere of control of your direct stakeholders, don't even waste 1 minute on it.
Yeah. But what if certain design decisions
Have to be
completely
taken, but you are in this constraint. That is what I'm trying to tell you from the last 10 minutes, right? Nag, probably you want to quit the company and join somewhere else if you really want to play a different game,
that's the reason I
right?
joined.
But
That's the reason.
right, but this company is like that. You cannot fight with everyone in the sense you cannot change all stakeholders and make sure that you get data, right? You need to play that game, and the game is being played like that. You can impact the way you are working with your direct stakeholders, and those stories will actually help you get a better job tomorrow. You really want to work with real data, you want to really work with how people are behaving, you want to go with them, you want to talk with them, you want to see, you want to do usability testing, you're not in the right place, right? But again, before you even take the decision, Nag, there are few things which, because what is more important is playing the game rather than doing UX in what you think UX is. Because at that particular point of time when I was in One Direct, right, I was heading One Direct, I was playing this game. They made me the head of design because I know what kind of game to play at what situations. I know I cannot do research. I cannot change that person. Therefore, I'm playing. That is what is my value. That is my street smartness. I became a head of design because I'm this street smart, not because I can do very good research. The other product, Tabzo, is where I introduced research to the company. I made product managers, everyone go and do research. I introduced guerrilla testing. In one day morning, we start with a concept. We go to a mall, do a testing, come back, and also do iterations that day itself on design. I introduced these kind of concepts. So the company clearly saw that I'm playing two different games for two different companies, and both places business is getting impacted. And that's what my value is. Yeah, my value is not that, oh, here I'm understanding research, doing guerrilla testing all the data, there also I should do this, or else I can't function because someone said this is how UX designer functions. Right? Because I'm enjoying playing this game, understanding multiple stakeholders and solving the problem within my stakeholder constraints is what I'm enjoying. Right? So I hope you got that answer. And you're not
Yeah.
enjoying that, awesome, change. You'll probably change. I mean, I can
Yeah.
already understand the level of maturity you have, so it's very easy for you to get another job. So you will. We will have that path. We'll have that journey. Yeah.
Yeah. Because the reason when you speak about changing the job also, right? Now, I work as a contractor, so I don't want any work, right?
Correct.
The client wants a work, so I can't even show the screens what I designed to from my portfolio. So what I do is I'm actually trying to recreate the same
Huh.
sort of screens in Figma, so that I can just tell the when in
You can remove
interview
the
they ask
confidential
me,
data and present. By
yeah,
the way, this is a very common question, right? What is within NDA, what is not within NDA is something which you will have, which you can really play a very good game, right? You
yeah,
can, what do you say? Strictly speaking, not everything will be in NDA, right? There are places where you can privately show the work which you have done. There are situations where you can, as what you're trying to do, you're doing it the hard way, which is going and translating it into another product, hiding the confidential data, or changing stuff, and also that
yeah,
people understand the kind of work which you're trying to do. You can play
yeah,
this game as well. You can do this as well, right?
yeah,
So you're doing it, which is pretty good, okay. But a lot of times, if I am having right now, I'm having this conversation with you, right? I don't even have to. I mean, I can probably go and look at some of the screens of another project, which is not directly this, but because I'm having this conversation, I know the way you think, because you're talking that the ability that you're working in this company and having this conversation with me, I know your maturity level enough, so I
okay,
will not doubt you on those skills.
okay,
What I need proof of is probably just your visual skills, which
yeah,
you'll probably show it to me through another project,
yeah,
right? And now I'll close the loop, right? So you don't have to literally build an entire portfolio of explaining your entire project. You don't even have to do it. For example, I don't have even have to sit and make a big portfolio. All I have to do is just write few stories and showcase multiple things live on the product over there. I'll be done,
okay,
right?
okay.
So
Yes,
these
Anudeep.
stories. So what I'll tell you is what you do need to do is, so there is a call which I took with a bunch of students, right? So that call is called interview style critic feedback and stuff like that. I forgot the name. In that, I asked multiple questions to students. Okay, tell me one incident where you had to take, a difficult decision or stuff like that. This kind of questions which I asked, right? Overall, there'll be some 12 to 15 questions I asked in that particular call itself. Okay, or probably we'll do more of those calls slowly. But you go and watch that call, you will understand that if you are going and preparing for these next interviews, you don't have to worry about getting a bunch of these questions. If you watch the call, you get the heart of where I'm coming from, these questions, where are these questions coming from, and you yourself can come up with these questions.
Okay,
And once you watch that, you all you have to do is prepare for these questions, examples of stories which you can tell from the work which you have already done, not quoting the confidential data part,
yeah,
just like what you didn't even reveal the name of the company or whatever. You just told us as a story. So can you tell this story to that particular question in a very detailed manner? Is what you have to do, because if you can tell it in a detailed manner and keep answering as I'm asking, that means I can trust you. You have done it.
yeah.
I'm
I
talking
can.
from real interview experience, because when we interview people, we know that they cannot talk about their NDA stuff. So all we care about is their stories, even if they're not presenting their confidential stuff.
I mean, I can definitely tell them. I can justify everything that I've done. Right. Every if they
Prepare
ask me,
consciously in this manner. That's what I'm trying to say.
yeah. At the same time, what constraint I'm facing is, or it's what's kind of pulling me back
Huh.
from trying and stuff is that
Putting this effort. Probably.
And end of the day, no, end of the day, it's about what impact I've created, right? I've delivered it fine, but how did it help the business? I don't have answers for that.
It's okay. It's okay. That's fine. You don't have an answer to that because in your game you don't have control over that. That's fine. You're assuming that they will ask you for an impact. If I ask you, hey, you know what, what's the impact? You tell me the story. That's fine. If I'm okay with it, I'll select you.
Okay.
I'm already okay with it. If I'm going to hire you, because you don't control. You're playing a different game. Given the control, you want to do it, and I that's what I need right now.
Okay.
You understand
Got
what I'm
it.
saying? No, why are you even assuming that they definitely will ask for impact, right?
I know it's just because I
Firstly,
need to
one more thing,
for,
Nag, never forget that interviewing is a trust building process.
okay. Yeah.
Always have this in your mind. Interview is not a pass or fail kind of a thing which we face in examinations. It is a trust building process. You have stories, you have detailed stories, you can build better trust, you can crack interviews. Straightforward. Be it an advanced level person, be it an intro, be it a fresher, your stories matter because you're building trust. That's
Okay.
it, bro.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.